Hey guys, so I was just thinking about this concept a while ago, right? You guys know I do a lot of business as well. I'm also an entrepreneur. I do a lot of business related stuff, and in a lot of ways, I think about um the way you learn things similar, right? I think about the way you concepts in business similar to concepts in game. Anyways, there's this there's this there's this recurring theme I see within Apex when I was learning, when I was going through. When the growth goes like this, right? When you're getting good, um, you start off really bad, and then things are like really, you're really kind of shitty or average or below average, and growth is kind of like this small and it's slow and it's hard and it's difficult, and this right here is the hardest phase, right? This right here is the phase where you're struggling a lot, you're not making a lot of progress, you're dying, not really hitting your objectives, you're not even really sure why you're not hitting your, sucks a lot. Then you get to the middle part. You'll at some point in time you'll grow and you'll get to like a middle part. It's like this really steep kind of spike upwards trajectory in your growth, right? Where you're just like going, oh, like you move from like struggling to like you've gotten good, and like you're in a floor onto something, and then like your good is getting like good and good and good, and it gets and it builds on top of that, and it's not just this, it's not the same almost linear hard slow sluggish growth. That's a very spiking growth where everything that you do is having compounding relative to what you were doing just before. So it's 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 an amazing feeling. It's probably the best part. Um, learning about this game, and like getting good, like right in that middle spot where you've overcome like all the beginner mistakes, and you've overcome like all the really and truly you've learned how to think even about growth in this game. Um, so one thing that I'm thinking about, I was thinking about something in business a while ago, and it, the concept of there's so many when you're usually when you're doing something, there's so many things that you can do. But if you want to get somewhere, right? Like if you think about a street, right, or like if you think about a map or a street, or and you want to get to a particular building, there are usually like many different. If you're thinking from the point of view of a map, right? There are like many different roads that you can take, and there are many different streets, and like there are many different ways you can go about navigating that map. But at the end of the day, there's really like one spot where you need to end, like one street that you can go down to get to that building, right? And so I love to think about this concept and think about it in short terms, like so many ways to do it wrong, only one way to do it right. And that's probably a phrase you guys have heard me repeat um during my coaching group before. But the concept is basically just that, right? Like there are a lot of ways to do things in real life, right? And in the game as well, right? I was thinking about real life, but it just reminded me of that time when I was thinking about the same thing in the game, right? There are a lot of ways that you can go about playing an Apex game, right? And there are a lot of ways you can go about moving, and like like just playing a game. There are a lot of ways that you can go about it, right? But if you know exactly what you want to achieve in the game, like if you know what you want to do, there's usually really one set street, one set formula, one set framework, one set step of sequence of things that have to happen, right, for everything to go right, for you to get to that exact building. There's one formula, right? Like not one formula, one street that you have to end up on, and like you have to linearly go down that street. Like um you can't like and on that same road you can't just suddenly make an abrupt left turn. Like there are only buildings there. No, there are no more turns, right? And so This is a really interesting concept I was thinking about in business, in real life, while ago that applies Apex as well. And it's it, it, it's one of my it's one of my favorite concepts. I was the particular moment that I was thinking about as well. I remember when I was learning learning how to leverage the principles of movement, particularly um line of sight. And I don't mean line of sight like how people use it. I mean reach through line of sight, like push to the maximum. And I just remember the day when that really clicked for me. And it was, I remember I was by this point in time, by the way, I was like good, right? I was right at that breakout phase where like you had to be very good to kill me still. Like you couldn't just have shoddy aim, and you couldn't just like be a total noob at the game to like kill me. And you couldn't I'd lose fights. This is where I say more a lot of people um are still in the, like I feel like most people never get past that barrier. Even people that dedicate a lot of time to the game don't get past that barrier. um I just remember thinking, well, because the place where I wanted to end up, I want to be able to get lots of kills all the time consistently, right? And I'd watch Ace and all that stuff and be inspired, and it's just like when the server is just so hard, right? Like so. Anyways, back to the back to line of sight. I remember one day when I was in grinding, when I was grinding it out, going through the motions. I and it just was not happening, right? Like I would do things and I'd play, and that I would get kills, but it was just so hard, right? And I wouldn't put up the numbers that I was looking for that would make me happy. And so and this is after like a full day, like really grinding, really going hard, like, really trying. And just remember just being in the server for a minute and just being so exhausted in the like in the middle of a fight. Nonetheless, right? I was in Capital, at the top, at the really at the tallest buildings. I um I think maybe I think maybe my team was down or they had left or something. But I remember I was in Capital at the tallest building, and we were fighting a team. We were on the third floor, I believe, and we were fighting a team that was in the same building. And I think some of the guys were also outside. So it was a really dynamic fight in that moment. And I just remember that one particular moment when I was just so burnt out and exhausted because I like that's the thing, like you know when you have your goal, right? And you know like while you're playing, like if even if you're not dead or anything, you know if you're like doing being that or not, right? And I just remember having that moment in Cap on the third floor, looking down at an enemy player that I think I killed one guy, looking down at an enemy player that was looking at me. We were shooting at each other, and I think I had a flatline also, and we were just there, and he shot at me, and I shot at him, and like obviously this is funny. Like I think I won that. I was winning that exchange, right? I was winning that fight. I was winning that exchange, right? But I won it, and then I was super low. I won it, and then I won it, and then I was super low. I hurt, right? And I was just I was really exhausted, right? Like I just really tired. And it's just one of those moments where I think I like I got maybe I got him low as well. I feel like maybe I got him low. He was low and I was low. I don't know if I don't. It was a pathfinder, and we exchanged bullets for a while, and then I got super low. He got super low, and I just remember like in like totally exposed still, like at the edge of Capital, at the edge of the third floor, looking down at the rest of Capital to where the guy was shooting me from, and just like so exhausted. I totally like moved like my hands from my mouse and my keyboard. I was so exhausted. I was just like, cause I could see, right? I could see it wasn't there. Like, why aren't you good enough? Why aren't you there yet? Right? Like this team should have been there a long time ago, right? Like, why are you not ES, right? Um, then like I remember at that moment, right, it just hit me the concept that I'm trying to tell you guys right now, which is really just line aside and the importance of line aside and how most people still don't understand. For most people, most concepts, most people hear it, but they don't really hear it. You can say it, you can say it, but it's a different thing to say it and know it versus actually using it, and not just using it like pushing it to its absolute extreme. Most people don't push most concepts to their extreme, which is why most people aren't very special at the game. Um, and so I remember just being there like with maybe like 1 HP and just so disgusted with myself, just so disgusted with this game. I didn't want to play anymore because it was so just things were just so hard, and like it just hit me, right? Um, it didn't matter if I was winning that trade. Like getting shot was so horrible. Like, I was just like, do you know, like in those moments where you're just so frustrated at the game, bro. Like it doesn't even really nothing matters, right? Like you just frustrated. The frustration of it just hit me. How I hated being shot, right? And I was like, what are you talking about? You're playing a gun game. You're playing like a video game where the objective is to shoot and like you'll get shot, right? Like, and I just remember I was just that's when it hit me, right? Being shot in this game is so awful, right? Like that's when it really hit me that being shot in this game is so awful, right? And for the first time, I think I really recognized like what the screen, what the what the visual artifacting meant, what the script, what the aim punching meant, like what it all meant when you got shot, right? And that's when it really, really drove home for me for the first time. Your mentality when you're playing this game, when you're trying to abuse things like line of sight, and this is just one movement concept, right? Is you shouldn't be getting shot at all whatsoever, totally, right? Like it is not acceptable whatsoever to get shot, right? And to get shot at, right? Most people don't think like this, right? Most people think it's okay to get shot even if they think they'll win the trade, right? Like that's when it really sunk in for me that like your mentality when you're playing this game should not be getting shot. Like you should not be getting shot at all. Like the consequences of getting shot are too awful. If you want to be the type of player that will get multi kills, that will go off really, you cannot afford to get shot. The consequences are too high, right? Screen punch, aim artifacting. Even if you have the best aim in the world, those things are gonna affect you. Not to mention if you're going for multi kills, um, the guy, somebody else from the other team or some third party team, they're gonna take advantage of that, you being low, right, or you being disoriented or whatever. And that's when it changed that aspect of my gameplay totally, right? From that moment on, I never ever play this game to ever get shot. I never want to get shot in that game. That one switch, that one change, that one adjustment in the way that I thought about my movement, in the way that I thought about um playing in this game made the whole difference. I went from like not being able, from trying very hard to get lots of kills, from trying very hard to not die, to very consistently, very easily, very somewhat predictably getting multi-kill games, 10 kill games, 12 kill games, 14 kill, 15 kill games beyond, right? Very consistently. Like I remember back then, like it would be maybe if I'd gotten a game like that, that would be like a great game for me, and that would be like the day. Like I don't even think I got those games, to be honest. That's the level I was at, probably. Like, you know, that's where your average player is probably at. They like um routinely get less than say 10 kills, right? And so yeah, like I remember when that clicked for me, like at that moment in time, like, and at that moment that do and those were, to be honest, those were the moments when things always click for me, in my moments of most frustration and most like arms in the air, give up. um yeah, but line aside, guys, like you it again, it's one of those things where in game you'll see it and you'll see the pro, actually, to be honest, like if the player is really good, you probably won't see them do it, right? And it is the nature of that principle. So as well to like you won't be able to see it, right? It will just look to you like they're always in lucky positions, when really what it is about is um it's more about not playing on lucky positions, even the ones that look like they could be lucky. The that's where the grandmaster beats the junior player, the intermediate player, right? The grandmaster, the junior player wins a row in chess, if you familiar with that. Right? The grandmaster shuts down the row completely, and so I just wanted, I just feel I was just remembering something like that in life, about the whole like 10 ways to get it wrong, because it's a similar principle, right? Like in Apex, you can like if you're trying to get lots and lots of kills, there are 10 million ways you can approach it, right? You can try and push every fight. You can like um try and be aggressive. You can try and have like the best movement. You can try and like uh you can try and like through nades. You can try everything, right? But only that one concept of like avoid getting hit, right, gets you to that spot where you are consistently doing multi-kill games easily, right, without having to try too hard. And so yeah, I just feel like sharing this right now, because I'm thinking about some life stuff, business stuff, and yeah, I don't know. I feel really inspired to share that in those moments. I hope you guys do get some value from this. I hope you guys learn and understand some of the principles that I do talk about. Obviously, I talk about more when I get time, or if you DM me or message me or anything like that. But yeah, guys, and so